Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog. Oh, what a beautiful Wednesday. Hello, Joe St. John. How are you doing?
Man, like if I was better, I'd be twins, dude. This is incredible. I'm hanging out with the Alpha Dog, having a conversation. Like, what more could I hope for, man? This is awesome.
Best day of my entire life. What can I say? Hey, Jason Papa says he went to NADA Academy with you.
Dude, we sat next to each other at the Academy. What up, Papas? How are you, man? How are things in Boston?
You know the guy?
Yeah, so we were both Toyota at the time, and we sat next to each other at the Academy, man. Jason Papas, it's good to see you, man. Super smart guy.
Really? Are you saying that because he's listening, or you say that when he's not around?
I would probably say that if he wasn't around. I would probably still say it.
Santangelo just came aboard. You can't have a broadcast without Anthony, so what? You know?
Exactly. This is awesome. I've told you from the beginning, like I've followed you since I was on the floor, and like it's just crazy to me to be sitting here having on your show, like here with you talking about this business that we both love. Like what a cool place to be, man. It's a little surreal.
It's a heavy responsibility being a legend, you know.
Mm-hmm. You better believe it. I had a lot of questions for you.
So many people are telling me I'm a legend. People keep giving me these lifetime achievement awards, and I keep I'm not retired. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, every time I turn around, somebody's giving me another lifetime achievement award. You're a legend. It's
because you deserve it, man. How many years have you been working diligently to make this industry better? Right? Like how many decades have you been pouring your heart and soul into it? I just
started 46 years ago.
Right? You're in the green pea.
Well, it might not be 46. What is it? 1976, I started selling cars.
Yeah. I still remember the mattress strapped to the roof.
Oh, yeah. Different days, I was broke. I was divorced. I was angry. Every great speaker's got to have a down and out story.
Yeah, because we've all been down and out. And I think people connect with that, right? If you haven't been down and out, you're not trying hard enough.
No, absolutely. And I made my bones in F&I. F&I is where I became nationally recognized, and I see a lot of changes. Hey, my buddy Charles Cannon just came aboard.
Hey, what's up, Charles and Kevin O'Brien, gentlemen?
Kevin, how are you, sir?
I don't. He just said gentlemen.
Hey, Kevin O'Brien. Let me tell you about Kevin O'Brien. Kevin O'Brien, when I was a brief time, I was an F&I manager at Troncalli Motors in Atlanta. And this wasn't 6 months. Kevin O'Brien was my F&I provider. And Kevin came in and he said, these numbers can't be real. These numbers cannot be real. Because, I was the first F&I manager in the universe to do $1,000 a retail unit.
It's mind-blowing to me.
Kevin's one of my last living witnesses to that. And amazingly enough, I hit that $1,000 per retail unit. We only had 60-month financing, and we were selling $13,000, $14,000 cars. It wasn't.
Yeah, you two products, right? You had V and
Credit Life, and service agreements, and I was selling some chemicals too. Kevin O'Brien's been a good friend of mine for 35 years. Yeah. That's how you talk about going back. What the heck?
What is anyway? So what is? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was saying, so what? How did you set that bar at a dime? And how did you even establish that was doable and that's what you should do? That's always been a question I've wondered.
Well, one of my F&I providers came in one day, Tony DeGanchi. He's passed away, and Tony said, "My God, Ziegler, you could hit $1,000 a retail unit." I said, "Really? But so what?" He said, "Nobody's ever done it." You got to remember, in 1982, the average F&I was $400 a retail unit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the average around the country. And here I was at 980 or 970 something. I was right there. So I consciously went after that number.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hit that number, they audited it with Auto Age 500, NAPA, all the statisticians of the day, and nobody had ever done it. I was the first.
Yeah.
So I got that's when I vaulted into national recognition.
It shows you how important mindset is, right? Like the belief that you can, and somebody challenging you that thinks that you can do it, and then people like you rise into the occasion and saying, "Okay, I can do that. I'll do that," and then just going for it and being real. I love it, man.
Hey, Sanana Bartkus is here.
Hey, Sonata, how are you?
Do you know that person?
I don't, but I like to say hi.
Well, hello, Sonata. I don't think we've met either, but I am really glad you're here. We're starting to build up a good audience here. We're going to talk about finance today. We're going to talk about a number of things. We're just chatting it up right now while the audience builds up, but we're going to talk about. She says, "Good, thank you. Hello." Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk about where F&I has been, and I mean, where F&I was is certainly not where we're going. Mm-hmm. I still have photographs on my Facebook page of people doing push-ups to qualify for Credit Life. Those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are long gone. Long gone.
See
if you qualify. Can you do 50 push-ups? We got to make sure you qualify.
Well, 10 was the going thing, well, I don't want the Credit Life. Well, sir, I'm not sure you qualify. Well, what do you mean? Well, I have to actually take a Polaroid of you doing 10 push-ups in the F&I office here for you to even qualify for Credit Life. And you look at you, you'd probably have a heart attack. You wouldn't make it.
Oh, I can do 10 push-ups. I can qualify.
Oh, God. Chris Burns just checked in. Yeah, we got a lot of good people in the sidebar here. So anyway, back in 1982, when I first became an F&I manager, I was dating my wife. My wife wasn't up. I was dating my wife, and we talked about getting married, and she said to me, "Well, my parents are going to have a problem with me marrying a car salesman." I mean, upscale Southern belle, just old Southern family, just I'm gonna marry a car. I said, "Well, what if I was a manager?" She said, "Well, that'd be different." So I went to the dealer, Brad Greer, and Bubba Clymer was the general manager. So look, I got to be an F&I manager. So they covertly sent me to F&I school. So the F&I manager that was already there didn't know it, and they weren't going to fire him during the holidays. So this was like November, and I had to wait till January to assume the office, looking at this guy every day, knowing he's out of here. Right. So anyway, I became an F&I manager in 1982. And of course, my wife and I have been married for 35 years.
So did you sell her a car?
Oh, I laid her away. I put her in the ditch. I mean, she was I put her on a 5-year lease, and then I ended up making every payment myself.
So, if I had a nickel for every car guy I know who had sold their future spouse a car and buried up in it, and then made all the payments themselves.
I love it. Crazy. And then I was with Dyer and Dyer Volvo after that, and we had 1 month where we were the first dealership in the world to do $1 million in 1 month. Now, bear in mind, I mean, that was 5 F&I managers. I wasn't in charge. I was just one of the guys. And, I don't want to say that I did that, but I was a participant in that. I was one of the team that we did $1,073,000, I believe it was, in June of 84.
Wow.
And then the last year I was in the car business, I was the director of the Potamkin dealerships, 5 stores in Atlanta. So that was pretty much what went down there. So F&I has changed a lot. Now, you work with AutoFI.
Yep. So I'm the head of digital retail at AutoFI.
Tell me about AutoFi. Tell me what you do, how it works.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your company. Let's get a little.
Our company is. Let's get to some details. Yeah. So AutoFi is inherently a financial technology company. The people the co-founders came from some really different industries, right? So it was a guy that was at, PayPal and GoDaddy and eBay, somebody that had been with Lending Club and SunGard Microsystems, and somebody from Wall Street looking at the lending market inside of auto and trying to figure out a way to create a more like customer-centric journey through that process and really enable actual digital commerce. If you think about the fragmented nature of this marketplace, they were really looking to do was power real online lending for dealers to actually enable real e-commerce. So we built out a platform, and one of our early investors was Ford Credit, and really started powering for dealers the ability for a customer to get a real-time credit decision via a dealer's website as part of their online journey and process. And over time, that's evolved to really do a kind of whole suite of things. And so when you think about it, everybody, I think there's a big misunderstanding, and I hate the term digital retail. I know it's in my title. I still hate it, right? Like digital retail is this dumpster term for anything that has to do with payments on a website. And it could mean everything from just a light payment calculator to a new website that merchandises your vehicles based on payments to us, which powers an online transactional process. And what we've really learned is that that's this limited viewpoint of thinking about it, Jim, where we think it's about this customer coming to my website and magically finding the car that they want and accepting my online price and then clicking a button and checking out and buying that car and never talking to anybody until I text message receipt that I'm going to schedule my delivery, right? So that happens. Doesn't happen all the time. That customer's real.
Joe, honest to goodness, when I first heard about digital retail, I was totally opposed.
Yeah.
Totally opposed. Now, I've changed with a degree, and I'm going to talk about how that transpired. The Carvanas and the vendors right now are stealing the dealer's profitability. There's a whole lot of vendors that we pay good money to.
Yeah.
That are stealing your finance profits.
I would agree with that.
And because people are transacting finance online.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I said, hey, there's got to be a medium there. It's not always going to be in the box, in the dealership. And I've had to reinvent myself so many times over the last 40 something years, since 1976. I've had to rethink shifting paradigms. And there's another shift in the paradigm.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be people coming into the dealership, transacting in an F&I office, and we're still going to need skilled F&I.
Amen. Oh.
And unbelievable how many F&I managers today are frankly not worth a damn. I mean, they don't know the objection. I say, well, why would a customer buy that service contract? Well, it gives you peace of mind. Well, why else? Well, right. I already say peace of mind. Yes, you did. I mean, they don't know how to sell their product. They don't know how to overcome objections. They don't know how to build value. They flip a menu out there, and the customer take it or leave it, choose one, and if they don't choose, they move on.
Yep.
So
they start going and they start printing up after they get the no, and the customer signs the decline. I get it.
Did you get a chance to look at the F&I book I sent you?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, 150 pages.
It's not a workbook. It's not like a fill in the blanks, like a Mad Lib. Right? No. That's a real deal.
It's a textbook. It's a textbook. All my word tracks and closes are in the book.
They're great too.
And people don't know how to close F&I deals today. It just blows my mind. So then we got to online F&I. I've been looking for a total online transactional source where, like Carvana, and dealers should be able to defeat Carvana heads up. And we have the cars, we have the service department, we have immediate delivery. You don't wait 5 days. Frankly, Carvana advertises cars I don't even think they have. They run to Mannheim and look for one if they get a deal. So right now we've got the advantage, but we don't have total transaction.
Yeah.
And that's when I reached out to you at AutoFI to find out what's available, what we can do.
Yeah. So right now in the market, so if you think about this, in May of 2019, right, lenders made roughly 1,500 credit decisions inside of AutoFi. So it's like 1,500 decisions to consumers inside of AutoFi. In May of 2020, it was over 26,000, meaning that right now in our platform, a consumer can go to a dealer's website. They can pick out the vehicle that they want. They can structure their deal the way that they want it. They can click to apply. They can fill out a really simple, like step-by-step credit application that really walks them through it and pre-fills as much as it can. It has like bumpers and rails to keep the consumer from really putting themselves in a bad position. Like, it doesn't ask what's your gross monthly income. It says, how are you paid? Hourly. Okay, what do you get paid per hour? $26 an hour. How many hours do you work a week on average? 45 hours a week. Do you have any extra income, like child support or disability? Click down here, fill that out. So it creates some rails and some bumpers that help the consumer through that process. And then when it gets to the end of that application, they hit submit. It's really revolutionary what it does. It soft pulls the customer to understand their credit profile. It goes, Jim, you're an 800 score. I'm not going to send you to Westlake and First Investors or Global Lending or Santander. I'm going to send you to Chase and Bank of America and Kia Financial. And so, or you're a 600 score. I'm not going to send you to Chase and Bank of America. I'm going to send you to Westlake and Global Lending and Santander. And it takes that customer's credit info, it takes the vehicle info, and it pushes it through the dealer's Route 1 or dealer track. So it's going to push it through the actual system the dealer uses. So if I'm at the desk, I see it pop up. I see AutoFi next to it. I see my approval with the thumbs up in Route 1. I can see what banks it went to, just like I worked the car deal. So now I can get myself involved.
Okay, so it's submitting it to the dealer's own finance sources.
Through the dealer's own finance portal. So it's going through my portal to the lenders that I'm using that are set up in the lender network at AutoFi.
So the dealer still has a certain amount of control, even though it's an online transaction.
So Jim, I've heard you say this multiple times. The best way to close somebody is to make it their idea, right? When you make it the customer's idea, they always say yes. With AutoFi, we make the customer feel like they're in control. The stories I could tell you where I've gone out on a show. So I'm at a dealership in Ohio. I'm working the desk and I want to do AutoFi on the floor. I want to see if it works, right? The way I figure stuff out is I go put my boots on, go to a dealership and start busting ups and figuring out how would I use this to sell a car. I'm at the desk.
That's what I like about you. I mean, number one, you've been in the business. Number two, you were successful when you did it.
Yeah.
And number three, you will go behind the desk. You'll catching up. You'll talk to consumers. You'll do the deal.
So Jim, I go out. So I'm sitting there. I'm talking to the managers. I'm like, all right, listen. If somebody comes up and we were working a deal, let me go out there with AutoFi and I'll work the pencil. Let me just go see if I can do this. Just give me one. Let me do it. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. First salesman comes up. Been in the business like 3 months, right? Deer in headlights. I got a deal. Like it's that guy. I'm like, all right, awesome. This is the one I get. Great. She loved the car. Yeah. Has she driven it? Yeah. Ask my desking question. Cool. I'm going to go out, introduce me. I'm going to turn the screen and you work your car deal and I'm going to kind of introduce myself, walk through it. We go out, Jim. He sits down and goes, this is Joe. Like turns and just shuts up. I was like, looks like I'm doing this. Howdy, ma'am. I'm Joe St. John. I'm here, and I start working my deal. And first thing I do, trial closer. So what'd you think about the car? How did it drive? Did you look? What about that stereo is incredible, right? Hit her about 3 times. Well, is that a car you could see yourself owning? She goes, oh, absolutely. Turn the screen. I got their website pulled up, right? Open up the window sticker, review the equipment. Say, if this is the car you'd like to own, go ahead and click here on calculate your payments and let's get you checked out. She clicks on calculate payments. She starts building her deal. Okay, I want to go 72 months. Well, I can't put 2,800 down. I'll put 1,200 down, right? I'm an 800 score credit. Right? She builds it all out. I said, well, if that looks good and you're comfortable with that payment, click apply. She clicks apply. The credit app, it's so seamless. It's so simple. It's just one step at a time. Finishes the credit app, instantly approved from Ford Credit at exactly how she structured it. She looks at me, she goes, can I call my dad? And I go, ma'am, you're not a hostage. You can call anybody you want, right? Picks up her phone, calls her dad, Jim, the stereotypical third base. You could hear him through the phone like the parents on Charlie Brown, like, wow, 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 right? Yelling. And she starts going, Dad, no. Dad, no, you don't understand. It's not like that anymore. No. They've been awesome. No, you don't understand. It's been incredible. No, it's like Amazon. It's not like that. I just want to know, do you think I can afford $385 a month? All right, Dad, I love you. Bye. Click. Hangs up and goes, okay, I'll do it. I forgot to mention, she self-selected Gap and self-selected Tire and Wheel without me saying anything. She goes, oh, yeah, Gap, I've got to get that. Tire and Wheel, what's that do? Well, what that does, I explain Tire and Wheel. She goes, okay, how much is that a month? $8? All right, cool. Clicks it. And check. I go back to the desk. I'm in like panic mode. I'm like, dude, we just did it. get to the desk. I log into our back and I look start to finish on that deal, 6 minutes. And I think to myself, now, who's going to contract that customer? The F&I manager is going to contract that customer. When I was an F&I manager, right? You remember like it's 4:00 in the afternoon on Saturdays and we're 8 deep back there. And I finally get that deal that's been sitting there for 2 hours. And the guy sits down with the like USS Alabama hat, crosses his arms and goes, all right, son, how long is this going to take? I ain't buying nothing. Right. Or it's like 10:00 on a Tuesday and you got that salesperson like, oh, I got the Joneses going to be here at 10:30. Here's their deal. Everything's printed up. They're going to want to come back here right away. I'm building my menu. I got it all loaded. They show up, go look at the car, love it. They're in my office 7 minutes later. Out of those two turns, which one am I making more money on? Which was easier to make more money on, right?
Yeah.
10:00 on Tuesday. Okay, well, one of the turns is a traditional turn, and one of those turns is an AutoFI turn. And I said this from the stage at the F&I conference a few years ago, and I think there's a lot of mis-ideas out there. I think people think everybody's trying to get rid of F&I or put a fast lane. If I have to hear another presentation about putting a fast lane in F&I, like I used to be like, well, like I can't take it, right? You know what I want to do? I want to put a fast lane through all the brain damage that happens to the customer before they get to that F&I office, and I want the experience to feel like they're in control. And that all the things that we know are a good idea for them to do that make us profit seem like a good idea for them to do. And that's what it's about.
I got a great word track for that customer you talked about with the USS Alabama hat. I'm not buying nothing. You know that guy?
I love that guy.
I got a word track that has been a killer for that. You ready?
What's that?
Okay.
I'm ready.
I was at Pat Preston's Preston Superstore in Burton, Ohio. Now you got to picture Burton, Ohio is an Amish community. There's a lot of Amish people around the dealership. Okay. So the F&I manager who later became the general manager's name is Wally. What happened here?
I don't know.
We just had a little countdown on the screen. I don't know what that was all about. What the heck?
There's some fireworks going on. It's countdown to the word track. It's a word track
countdown.
Okay,
I guess so. Technology's acting up on us a bit here. No problem. But anyway, Wally, I'm sitting in Wally's office, and he had a big enough office, which is rare in finance. He's got a big office. I'm sitting at a desk behind his desk. And now bear in mind, I'm wearing a baseball hat and a business suit with a tie. Everybody in the dealership's in polo shirts. So the customers know I'm something different.
Yeah.
Baseball hat, $100,000 on my hands, something different about this guy. So I'm sitting back there and the woman comes in with her husband. She said, now I told you before, I'm not going to buy anything. She announced. So, Wally goes through his little rehearsed JM&A pitch, he goes through this little robotic pitch, and she says, I told you I'm not buying anything. And I said, ma'am, my name is Jim Ziegler. I'm a public relations consultant from Atlanta, Georgia. That's why I always introduce myself. Mm-hmm. I'm just here to be sure you get a good deal and you're treated right. Let me ask you a question. Do you have $25 in your purse? She said, yes, I do. I said, now, tell me the truth. A week from now, you won't know what you did with that $25. A week from now, you have dropped it in quarters and Chuck E. Cheese's and the machines for your grandkids, right? You won't know what you did with it. Mm-hmm. She said, probably. I said, so $25 is pretty insignificant money. You carry it around all the time. You don't even know what you did with it. Do you have $7,500 in fluid cash? Well, no. I said, I know you don't because you struggle with the down payment. But earlier, you talked about that. So you don't have $7,500. So if a $7,500 bill came at you unexpectedly, it would be a catastrophic event in your life. Mm-hmm. You'd have to sell something or borrow something. You don't have that much fluid. Well, Mrs. Jenkins, our average gap claim is more than $7,500. So in other words, our gap is much less than $25 a month. Let me ask you this. If you could take that liability, that exposure, and limit it to us. Here's the word trick: a small, known, manageable amount. Something you can handle, a small, known, manageable amount, as opposed to a catastrophic amount coming at you when you least expect it. And her husband's sitting there saying, I think we ought to get that.
It's less than $1 quarter nickel a day, man.
Yeah. One analogy I hate in F&I is it's a dime a day. It's less than a cup of coffee, a pack of bananas, or a pack of prophylactics.
Skull.
You know.
Right?
It's less than 3 bananas or a pack of prophylactics, or you quit it. You know, don't compare it to coffee. Quarters and Chuck E. Cheese's, small, known, manageable amount. That's something they can relate to.
And I think that's the challenge, right? So here's the challenge I feel like from my vantage point that we're facing in our industry is this is still very much a human being business, right? Like this is still very much a business where it's about people. And I think that over the last decade, right, we've become addicted to leads. We've become very dehumanized in the fact that we are working with other human beings. And for me, when I think about technology, Jim, the lens that I view it through, right? When I was a GM, this is how I would analyze all of my tech is how is it enabling my customers or my salespeople to accomplish their goal more efficiently and more effectively, right? Like, how is this helping my salespeople to be more efficient, to be able to get more done at a more effective with it? And if not, it's not, it's cumbersome. If not, it's taking away from, it's like I heard somebody say one time, you got to turn your CRM into an ATM, right? We've turned ourselves in a way into these task rabbits where I got in the habit. This is a mistake I made when I was desking car deals. I would check guys out at the end of the day. They'd come to me to let me know because I want to know what I got working. If shift's over and you don't have anything, and I started asking them, how many tasks do you have left? Like how many tasks you got? You got all your tasks cleared out? And I realized like I was generating this behavior where they were more focused on clearing out tasks to appease their manager than they were on actually connecting with a customer and getting them to want to buy a car. And I think that the blurry line that we've got to be careful with is I'm the guest instructor on digital retail at NADA, and I speak to dealers. I'm in there and I let them like, any questions you got, this isn't ask me anything. I'll tell you what I really think. Might not be right, might not be really, I'll bet what my gut says. And when I'm there, I stay at the Ritz because it's the same price as everywhere else. And it's the Ritz, right? Like they got a special NADA rate. I stay at the Ritz. I walk in and they all know me. They're like, I feel cool as shit. I walk in and they're like, Mr. St. John. I'm like in my all denim vest, like, hey, Jason. Like I'm waving. It feels awesome. I go to my room. There'll be a little note to me. It'll be like, Mr. St. John, we're glad you're staying with us again. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Ashley, here's my number, right? Like it feels awesome. I still book it through the app. Right? I still book my room through the app because it takes me 2 seconds and I can change it in mid-flight if I need to, if I have something come up. So I think that what we have to realize is there's this seamless blending of incredible human experiences that are powered in a really digitally like centric way, right? Like we want to be, it's like I was talking to the GM at Sam Pack. Customers still want to touch and smell these things. Look at these cars. They're stunning, right? I got a whole row of them. They're beautiful. And but I see over and over again where customers knock out a big chunk of it at home. So when they come to the dealership, they don't have to sit around and wait for us to do things. And what you see dealers getting really good at is leveraging technology to really make efficient use of the customer's time when they have them in front of them. I mean, the way I explain how I think, I have a lot of qualms with digital retail and how I think everybody's doing it. I think COVID hit, we all slapped a button on our website. We're like, all right, I'm doing it. Check the box, right? And I don't think that that's what it's about. And I think that without changing your systems and processes to support a customer going through that, we actually make it worse, right? I was with SET doing their digital marketing meetings, and I'm a big coffee drinker. If you can't tell by my energy level, right? Like I drink a pot and a half a day. Like it's not even cups anymore; it's by the pot. And when I'm on the road, I drink Starbucks, not because it's good; it sucks. It's just it's consistently mediocre. And I can order it through an app. And I don't wait in line. I'm not a peasant. Like I'm not going to stand there for 2 hours. Like I'll order my coffee. I show up, I grab it and I leave. It's awesome. I'm at SET and I see this big hotel because we're flying from region to region to go to these meetings. huge tower in Charlotte, North Carolina. First floor, there's a gym and a Starbucks, and I'm pumped. I'm like, yes, Starbucks. I don't have to drink the garbage they're handing out here. So I literally the next morning, I wake up fired up. I'm like, I get Starbucks. Yeah. Dude, I order my coffee. I got all my gear on, order my coffee, go out to the elevator, right? Headphones in. I'm listening to like Wu-Tang. It's going to be a good day. Like, this is a good day. Get in the elevator, get down there, walk up. Immediately, I'm thankful. I'm like, huge snaking line in front of Starbucks. I'm like, dude, yes, I'm already winning today, right? I've ordered my coffee. I don't have to wait in line. I get there. My coffee's not ready. And now I'm like, and now I got like the angel on one side and the demon on the other. Angel's like, listen, man, they're in the weeds. Give them some grace, right? Demon's like, nah, man, flip over a table. Let's do this, right? Start yelling. So I finally Jim, it's like 2 minutes, right? I finally raised my hand. I'm like, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am, ma'am, excuse me. And she turns and like looks at me with like desperation. She's like, what? Like literally like that. I go, hey, I ordered my coffee online. Is my coffee ready? She goes, systems down, get in line. And I had this moment where
she said, what?
Systems down, get in line. And I had this moment, Jim, where I realized that that's the experience that a lot of dealers that are doing digital retail are giving customers, because we bifurcated off into some internet program, some lead thing. And then that customer thinks they buy a car. They show up, somebody ups them, is like, welcome to the dealership. What can I help you with? They're like, oh, I'm here to pick up my car I bought online. Great. What kind of car are you looking to buy? Well, no. I already bought it online. I've already done everything. I just want to see the car and take delivery. All right, sit down. Let me find out what's going on. And now that guy's going to the desk to figure out what's going on. And I got a customer that came in expecting this magic experience that's now sitting on my showroom for 10 minutes unassisted while we're scrambling around trying to put the pieces together. And I think that when dealers take on digital retail, it's about shifting the way that we think about taking care of a customer so that they feel special.
Well,
so
see, Joe. Listen, I'm into concierge sales. This is my new concierge. We're going to be delivering cars to people's homes, and we've always done that. I mean, I did that 35 years ago, but not as a premier way to do business with the dealership. It was an aberration. It was something we did occasionally. You know, I remember sales managers dropping us off in a neighborhood with brochures and saying, go door to door and sell a car, you know?
Right. So to me, I think like we call this the retail like it's new. How many times when I was an F&I manager was I putting documents into a FedEx to send to a customer that I had sold everything to over the phone because I'm not taking a zero because I'm lazy, right? Like we've been doing this as an industry. Do you deliver cars out of state? Every dealer in America would say yes, right? We all do. I'll deliver that car to wherever, right? And that is where I think that like we as dealers need to realize this isn't something new. It's something new in our ability to do that better and to grow that slice of the market. I was going to show you this. A dealer friend of mine sent me this right there. See that lady? I don't know if you can see her. This was today.
Sort of.
She's 80 years old, bought her Lincoln Aviator from Hooks Lincoln, never left her house because she was scared of COVID, did everything digitally. They delivered it to her house, and Robert, her salesperson, shot a video of her. She was a loan officer at a bank, and she literally said, I thought it was going to take, 10 pages and a whole lot for that loan. Being a former loan officer, it took 2 minutes. It was 2 minutes, and I had everything arranged. And I think that we also think that technology is for young people. Jim, you're better at Facebook than I am, right? You're better at this hosting and the videos and the streams. And I think that we, it's about bringing all those pieces together. Dude, Mike Kavanaugh's on. I got to say a big shout out to Mike. Can I talk to Mike Kavanaugh for 2 seconds, Jim?
Sure. Say hi to Mike. Mike's a good friend.
So Mike Kavanaugh, I want you to know I'm like, oh, I love Mike, dude. Mike, I'm on day 57 of 75 hard. I'm down 28 pounds. I ran a 10K a couple of days ago, and I'm riding my bike 100K this weekend. Oh. And Mike Kavanaugh is the one that inspired me to do it. Mike Cav, you are the man, and I want you to know I appreciate Mike's an inspiration to me. He is a dude that feeds me positive energy, that gets me wanting to go climb up Hamburger Hill. And I just want to give him a shout out and tell him that I appreciate it a ton, brother.
Well, I guess you've noticed I'm down to 215 pounds.
Woo! Come on,
I was 275 July 1st of last year.
So most people don't know this about me, Jim. I weighed 330 pounds at one time. So I was
You were quite the porker, weren't you?
I was quite the porker, man. I was a very large. I'll show you a picture. This is what I used to look like, man. I was a big guy, right? And
oh my gosh. Let me see that again.
I weigh 203 pounds today, and a big portion of that is attributed to a couple of things.
Holy cow.
One is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
If you had to haul ass, it would take several trips.
I need a wheelbarrow, son. Come on.
Yeah.
Right? So that's 1 year. That's 1 year right there. 12 months day to day. And it's guys like Mike sending me positive energy and telling me that I can do hard things and that I'm mentally tough, that remind me on the regular that I can get out there, get after it, and do hard things.
Well, I had to get. I didn't lose the weight that way. I had to catch some cancer to lose the weight. I had to have a major cancer operation to lose all this weight. But
it's still awesome. First off, we talked about this beforehand, but like, it's just so cool to see you kicking cancer's ass, man. Like when you made that announcement, it hit me. I was like, damn, like it caught me off guard. And to see you, go. I know you still got some chemo left. I know you're going.
I've still got a little chemo happening right now. But I was in intensive care for 15 days after that operation. They totally rearranged my internal organs, and they took things out. And I mean, it was really extensive. And every day I was saying, I'm going to die today, or no, I'm going to go and stay here. And I wasn't ready to die quite yet, so I didn't.
Yeah. Not today, as
Not
Ari
today.
says. Not today.
You know Bill Schomburg?
I don't, but what up, Bill? Big bump to you too, man. Appreciate that, brother.
Okay, we're talking about finance, and like I said, Mike Cavanaugh came in, and Mike Cavanaugh is just one principal gentleman. I appreciate him knowing. Yeah, that's Max Digital, right?
Yep, it's a good group of guys. One of my best friends from high school actually works there. I didn't know he was in the car business, and then I ran into him at an ADA, and I was like, "What are you doing here?"
Max Digital. Mike, if you're still listening, Kim needs to get in touch with me about getting you on this show. But anyway, let's get back to our subject at hand. The subject at hand is F&I now, the future, the way it was, the way it is, the way it should be. I talk about people don't know how to sell F&I. I strongly urge you to buy my F&I book.
Amen.
It's agnostic.
Awesome text.
I don't represent any credit insurance or no, credit insurance almost dead, but we do have some new product coming out. Service. I don't represent any provider. This book is hundreds of closes for different situations in the F&I office.
It's what I loved about the book, right? So one of the things about your book that I think stands out to me is that in a lot of books, it's like, what do you say when somebody says this? And then there's a bunch of lines to write in the answers. Mm-hmm. Your book's already got the answers in there, right? The word tracks that you use are tried, tested, worked word tracks. Now, when it comes to word tracks, one of the things that I also love is how much you focus on the delivery, right? How much you focus on that authenticity. It's a robot regurgitating word tracks is never going to close anything, right?
No.
I'm a true believer that confidence closes, and confidence comes from like expertise and practice and getting your butt kicked and getting back up and all those things and believe in what you say. Because when you hear that belief, it inspires you to want to take action. And so
I've got little simplistic word tracks. Some of them are one-liners, but they work. Like, how many F&I people freak out when the customer says that interest rate is too high, or that interest rate is pretty high? You know what I say to that? I look them right now. I say, yes, it is. Now let's wait and see what they say next. They didn't say they weren't going to take it. They just said it was. They were commenting that it was high. And I see F&I. Well, let me get a book. I can get it lower. And they start hitting the keyboard.
Yep,
no, excuse me. No, that interest rate's rather high. Yes, it is. How much is that service contract? Mr. Ziegler says here that service contract is $3,800. No, it's not. That's a fictitious figure in the contract, sir. No, it's right here, $3,800. Sir, that $3,800 is only the amount you would pay if you took it all the way to term. You and I know you trade your cars early, and In all 50 states, any part of that unearned premium is refunded to you pro rata. You only pay for exactly what you use as you use it. So you'll never pay the $3,800 unless you keep the service contract for the full 7 years or the full 100,000 miles, whichever comes first, which you never do. The reason I built some excess miles and some extra terms into it is so if you sell the car to a third party, it'll make your car more valuable. Is that a great word track?
Oh, it's such good word tracks. For me,
you've not heard it anywhere else. I mean, it's original Ziegler stuff.
Yeah,
all my word tracks are original. I mean, everybody's teaching everybody the same shit everybody else is teaching them. You know? So anyway, AutoFI, you can totally transact an F&I deal online.
Yeah, so you can get all the way to the point of requesting e-contracts with real lender decisions, F&I products that are configured by the dealer that are the dealers. So if you're selling JM&A or MBPI or AAGI or IAS or CNA or, the factory, whatever it is, fully configured. I got dealers now doing some cool stuff, Jim. I got a dealer. I wish I could show you the video. I'll send it to you. They filmed their F&I manager for the videos. And like on the vehicle service contract one, it literally says, why would anybody buy this? It's a black screen. It says in white letters, why would anybody buy this? Right. And you click on it and it's a guy and he's British and he's sitting in his F&I office and he's looking down at his phone. He looks up and he's like, technology, it's crazy, right? And he starts going through this like cell phone close. He's like, you think about what this thing does. It's incredible. I mean, we couldn't live without it, right? He's like, and most of us, as a portion of our monthly payment, set aside a portion of it so that if this thing ever broke, we could take it in and they would fix it. And what's that cost us? Like $10 a month? He's like, today you're making what for most people is the second largest purchase of their lives. So can you see why it would make sense to set aside a portion of this payment so that if anything went wrong with it, you could bring it in and get it fixed? I mean, it is composed of a bunch of mini computers just like this one. And then it fades out to like a screen that shows all the cutaways with the prices. And like, it's their F&I manager. Yeah. So when the customer like does that, even if they don't buy it, they show up, they go into the office, they meet that guy. So now they're building in the technology, the connection to the like people in the delership. So they start bringing it together and they like link those two experiences.
Exactly.
For me, that's pretty cool.
Before we get too involved in everything else, first of all, if you want to buy the F&I book, there's where you're going to buy it, ZieglerSuperSystems.com. It's a downloadable. You can have it immediately. It's a downloadable. We went out of print. I have a copyright on the book, and I've rewritten the book 14 times in the last 20 years. It's as current as right now. Yeah. Joe Ferris said, awesome book. If you're an F&I manager, buy the book. Now, that being said, how can they get in touch with you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm super easy, man. You can hit me on my email address, which is just joe@autofi.com, just joe@autofi.com.
Okay, hang on. I don't type that fast.
joe@autofi.com.
And how else can they reach you?
They can reach me on my cell phone, man. Texting me is the easiest way. I'll give you my cell phone number. It's 918.
Okay, hang on. I'm not tight. Okay, go ahead.
706-0882. Shoot me a text right now if you're watching, and I'll text right back to you. That's me.
How about that?
That's perfect, man.
So anyway, if they want to get a demo, they'll get a demo, and
yeah,
you're not going to pressure them into buying. You're going to show them what you do, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, okay. There's no high pressure tactics here, no arm twisting. This is about showing solutions that can help make your people more effective and more efficient and help your customers to have a better experience and buy more.
Let me point something out. I reached out to you to be on this show.
Yeah.
You didn't. So many people are coming to me and begging me to be on this show because we get so many viewers. But I reached out to you because I see the changing paradigm. I see that this is one thing we have to do. It doesn't eliminate the F&I manager. And the one thing that I basically am against, I don't know where you stand on this. I don't want the salesman doing F&I.
So I want to show you something, Jim, before we get into this conversation. Mm-hmm. You did reach out to me, and it blew my mind. This is a text message to my dad, literally showing him that I'm going to be on your show, saying, believe that, Dad, and him saying, you officially arrived, Alpha Dog, right? I started getting
That's
I'm
great. That's
excited
great.
when you reached out. I know we talked for like an hour.
Well, one thing I am opposed to salespeople performing F&I. You know, I mean.
So Jim,
Go ahead.
I have been of that mindset pretty much my entire career. I came out of a dealership where a salesperson couldn't talk about any of it, and if they did, they were going to get their heads ripped off by the desk and F&I. Right at the end of the day, I believe that you can't run good numbers that way. That you need a separate department. My belief in that has been challenged pretty heavily by a handful of dealers that I've seen do a really good job of a single point of contact.
I have seen that, and they're not doing as good a job as I believe a manager would do. And of course, the argument is, well, if the salespeople do F&I, we can eliminate the high-priced F&I managers. Okay, so yeah.
So I want to interject here because I'm not saying eliminate high-priced F&I managers and have donk salespeople that are trying to do this job. Where I've seen people do a really good job is when it's in unique environments, right? It's a Lincoln store that has one F&I manager that then moves to the desk and now is training everybody how to do it, and then is going out and TOing when they don't get everything. And I'm seeing some models that aren't a single point of contact with no F&I, but are a model that makes it feel a little bit more streamlined for the customer, but still has some real horsepower behind going out. So when I was F&I director, I ran a pretty unique department. It was a lot like you, in which my F&I product provider would bring F&I directors and dealers to my store to see how we did it. It's 7 F&I producers. It was a high volume Toyota store. I had it was all glass offices, and my office faced where I was looking at all of their offices. So my computer, I was literally looking into their offices. The way we would work an F&I deal is they would sit the customer down. They would go over their like basic stuff on the interview. They would come out to structure their deal in my office. So I had 2 computers set up beside me where they would sit to structure their deal. I would go in and do an early phase TO like I was working a car deal. So I would come in and say, Mr. Ziegler, I'm Joe St. John. I'm the finance director here. My job is to work with the lenders on your behalf to ensure that we get you the best deal. You're in great hands with Chris. He's going to take great care of you. If you have any questions or anything like that he can't answer, don't hesitate to have him come find me. So we're really happy to have you in our family. Welcome to our dealership, right? I'd bounce out. He'd come right in, and then he would start his presentation. And then if he got stuck and would say he got VSC and Gap but couldn't pick up any tire and wheel, I'd go in and bump for the product, right? So I would go in. Sounds like you guys had a question.
I'm still going to be on the other side of that argument. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I believe that salespeople have different skill levels.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want my worst performing salesperson presenting my finance. And to me, the F&I manager is the sheriff, the policeman of the dealership. I'm the one that's got to say no when everybody else is saying go.
Yes.
You know, I mean, and I don't want legal compliance in the hands of 20 salespeople.
So where I've seen dealers try to take that on is I've seen dealers now that are even AFIP complianting or using other compliance systems to certify their BDC because BDC is getting asked questions about F&I. So I'm seeing dealers.
I was the keynote speaker at the first AFIP convention.
Yeah.
Me and basketball coach Pat Riley were co-keynote speakers at that event. Wow. We were on the stage at the same time.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing is some stores are really investing in training and development from a compliance side across their entire sales force. And then they are, where I'm seeing it is where like that F&I manager is now on the desk and they're managing the sales force and they're responsible for F&I gross. So their job is to get that F&I gross because they're paid much weighted on that.
I'm still going to stand on the other side of that argument.
Oh, and I'm not saying
I don't want salespeople. I don't want sales. I don't mind if, salespeople are emotionally involved in the deal. They're afraid of the deal. Mm-hmm. Salespeople are afraid of the money. Now, the super performers are not.
Yeah.
But only a small percentage of my salespeople are that super performer that I would even trust that direction.
So Jim,
most of them are coming up to the desk trying to scare the hell out of the sales manager not to make a deal.
So all I'm saying is that I have been on your side of this argument for the last decade, right? Like I have very fully been on that side of the argument. And I now work with some dealers that are, in my opinion, proving me wrong. They're running a solid model. Their F&I profitability has increased. Their expense line items have decreased, and they have spread some of that love out to salespeople that I believe in our industry right now. And a lot of markets aren't making as much money as they could have made 5, 10, 15 years ago. And they are really empowering high quality salespeople to be more responsible. And they're really investing in what I think you stand behind, which is really training and coaching and developing those people to develop a lot of those skill sets. So I really see both sides of these arguments. In fact, I was like very firmly on the hell no, no way, no how can a salesperson ever do F&I. And all I'm saying is that my exposure with AutoFi to 1,500 dealers, I've been in stores like Hooks Lincoln in Dallas that their front to back profitability, when their F&I manager blew out and they didn't replace her, and their sales manager was a stud F&I manager, and he was like, look, he's like, we don't need them. I'm going to teach this crew. They've got 5 salespeople, so it's not like they got 20. They got 5. They're studs, and their net like GPR, so their gross per retail unit across front to back from July when she quit to December went up by 68%. They made more on the front, and their back stayed about the same, and then started creeping up after about 4 or 5 months of them doing F&I. That to me is the like challenge to my belief, where I was a you know, I don't want to like sound egotistical. I was a damn good F&I guy, right? Like I would like I'll go put a turn on, man. Like I trained F&I managers, 2,500 of them in 2015 and 16 at IAS as their national director of training. Like word tracks, my favorite game to play with a dealer principal is try to stump me. Like, let's go out for drinks and you throw every objection and let's just see if you can get me in a corner.
Oh, I do that. I'll sit on a bar stool at the front of the room.
And just stump the chump. Just throw him at me.
Hit me with any scenario.
Yeah.
And the ability to come off the top of your head, because what I teach in F&I schools is what I call engrammatic learning. Now, Joe, explain to the audience what an Engram is.
So Engram is a personality profile system. Oh, sorry. Are you talking about the Engram system?
What is an Engram? E-N-G-R-A-M. An Engram.
I don't know. You have stumped me.
I teach engrammatically.
Okay.
An Engram is a
Sensei, I'm taking notes.
An Engram is a learned response that you don't have to think about. Now, when you drove your car to work this morning, you put your foot on the brake, didn't you?
Yes.
I hope you did. Did you ever once think about putting your foot on the brake, or when you came to a place where you had to stop, your foot just went on the brake?
Just went on the brake.
Right. When you made a turn, you just slapped the blinker and you didn't think about it, did you?
No, I made my turn.
That's an Engram. You have done it so many times, it's programmed into you. I see a stop, I hit the brake. Okay. Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. He didn't know he was learning how to block punches. Right. Okay. Wax on, wax off. Now, you and I both were fighters. And when I was in the fighting championship, I got my ass kicked, by the way. But when I was in the fighting championship, if somebody's throwing a punch at you, you can't think about, well, I better block that. You better have a response.
Hand up, right?
So I teach engrammatically. The customer says this, I say that. They do this, I do that. Where you don't need to think about, I can plan a fishing trip while I'm delivering an F&I deal. Because I don't need that. They don't come up with anything new. I've been doing it 35 years. And it's the same. It's the same objections. They think they're so original. Excuse me. They say this, I say that.
I say that.
I do that. And that's why I want people to be. Where I've got closes in my head that I used once, but they're still there.
So let me ask you this then. So because what I was saying is I was that guy. So for me, like I have been on that side of the argument forever. But Jim, like if you had a dealership where your job was to train 5 salespeople to engrammatically respond and kill it at both selling a car and doing F&I, do you think you could do that? No, because out of 5, I could probably do 2 of them. 3 of them are going to be weak. And they're going to always be weak. There are weak salespeople on every sales force, and you can't make weak people naturally strong. But you have the same thing in F&I, right? We have weak F&I managers. You got 5 F&I producers. One of them is
a focus on them. We only got 2 or 3 of them. I know which one's weak, and I can replace that one. You can't replace 20 salespeople.
Yeah.
No. So, there are salespeople who are inherently weak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but they're not so weak I'm gonna fire them. They're still producing their 8-car Freds.
Yep.
I don't put in their 8-car Fred and charge my F&I. And when I got dealerships that have salespeople doing F&I, some of them are killing it, and some of them are 8-car Fred mentality still.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I've stood on that side of the argument for a long time. And all I'm saying is my exposure with AutoFi has challenged my belief that that's the only way to do it. Right. Like, I feel like for me, when I was in my dealership, I was like the greatest guy at the dealership. Right. Like, I walked around like I'm in my little world. Right. And then I met I got out into the world. Right. And I started meeting guys like Jay Skrabowski at Zek Ford, who for 3 years averaged 55 units a month selling cars with no assistance. His name wasn't on the building. Mm-hmm. He was just selling 50. If he had an off month, it was like a 28-car month, right? If I had a 28-car month, I was taking 2 weeks off because I just smashed it, right? My best is that guy's worst. And I look at the market and I think, okay, I always want to be open-minded that there is maybe ways of doing this that I don't know about, or I don't fully understand, or I don't agree with, or that I don't think are right. That if somebody can go execute and run a highly profitable dealership with growing market share and high CSI and high front to back grosses, I want to figure out what they're doing. And I didn't believe you could do that with salespeople as a single point of contact. And what I'm saying is I got dealers, not all of them and not a majority. I got a few dealers that are really proving some of that hypothesis in a way that for me is challenging my belief system.
I'll have to think that through, because we're running down on time a little bit. We're almost to the end of this thing.
Yeah.
One thing I would say is I'd like people to contact you and to get a presentation on what you do, because the one thing we definitely agree on is transaction online. I am so strong on transaction online. Matter of fact, I'm sort of looking for that one vendor that can come up with total transaction online that they never have to contact the dealership. And Carvana seems to have that. And Carvana is a terrible, terrible thing. Right now, they don't have the service department. They don't have the inventory. They're doing some things with their relationship with Car Gurus that I'm really not happy about. So I think, and the vendors we have today are taking the F&I profits away from the dealership. And I'm talking about your lead providers that you think are lead providers. They're channeling that finance to their own pockets. So we have to, in a matter of self-defense, find total transaction online, including AutoFi. We got to do that, and we got to be able to do that right now. I'm highly advocating this service.
Well, I appreciate that, Jim. And I'm
still not going to advocate salespeople doing finance.
I'm not going to advocate for that either, but I will tell you, I appreciate your support.
Yeah, and you have it, and we have to get total transaction online. We have to get concierge sales into the dealerships. So we have to be able to sell the car the way the customer wants to buy the car. They want to transact online. We need the ability to do that, and AutoFi is one of the closest things we have to that. There's a couple of them out there. Roadster's one. I'll now mention the competition, but still in all that, there's very few that nobody has yet offered the dealers total transaction online, which I want to see, because the vendors have it. The vendors have it, and they're stealing your profits with it. We need to have it. The dealers, need to control and keep our own profits rather than our vendors stealing it from us, and we're paying them to do it. The worst thing ever happened to car dealers was the internet. You realize that?
I was an internet director when it was early, and I get it. So for me, what I was going to say is that at AutoFi, that's our goal, is to help dealers retain and maintain that profit, and to create
That's why you're here.
To turn your salespeople and F&I managers into Iron Man, right? Let's take a great human that can do something awesome, and let's outfit them with the best technology to make them as awesome as they
That's
can possibly
why you're
be.
here, Joe. That's why you're here. That's why I reached out to you.
I appreciate that,
I got
brother.
to tell you, we need to control and we need to concierge. We need to be able to deliver the cars at their home. We need to have total transaction online. We need to be able to e-contract at least. And we still have to have traditional finance in the dealership where the walk-in customer, the customer that showed up by appointment.
Yep.
However that works, people still want to select their cars. There's a whole gamut. Sell them the car the way they want to buy the car.
Yep.
Total
Amen.
transaction. My friend Brian Benstock talks about frictionless. You don't need to
Amen.
you don't need to lie. You don't need to cheat. You don't need to steal it. You don't need to misrepresent to sell finance or the car.
Amen.
I mean, you can do everything upright, honest. I mean, and profit is fair. I mean, you're not cheating anybody, making a fair profit. And I've always said. So anyway, buy my F&I book at ZieglerSuperSystems.com. Buy the Ziegler Mastermind F&I book, 150 pages, textbook, hundreds of closes, words you can actually say to the customer that don't sound artificial, robotic, or contrived. I'm telling you right now, it's the best F&I book ever written, not just because I wrote it, because it works. My good friend, my new good friend, Joe St. John, the guy with the Taliban beard there.
I just trimmed it too. Come on, it was like
Thought
the
you
year,
explained
man.
yourself first time I saw you.
This beautiful hair, all this denim on.
No, listen, AutoFi. The phone number on the screen, 918-706-80882.
Just give me an email or a text, and I'll reach out directly to set up a demo for you. Jim, it has been awesome. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
You are loved and appreciated.
And so are you, my friend.
We're about to stop the stream. Stay with me. We'll have a conversation offline.
Got it.